This is Business Owners Drinking with Lawyer Humans. I'm your host, Shreya Ley, and over the next 10 minutes or so, I am going to be enjoying a tasty adult beverage with a fellow business owner. That's us.
Hey.
All right, I'm here with Tim Klatt of Strangeland Brewery, and we are in the brewery, actually. It's pretty awesome. This is all the equipment they use to make the stuff, and we're drinking his beers. What are we drinking?
So this is our special anniversary ale,
Okay.
and we're calling it Grand Cru MMXV to commemorate the year.
All right.
This year it'll be different every year, but this particular year is a Belgian triple
Okay.
with orange peel, orange blossom honey, sourced locally, and coriander.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, I like
Love
that.
it. 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Let's get you going.
Yeah, hey, you can start early.
Yeah. So, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I love it. It's really tasty. I tend to like maltier kind of beers, and like the hops almost has, like a spicy.
Right.
I like that.
Yep. We like to do everything in balance here at Strangeland, where everything, all the ingredients are kind of used in concert with each other, and there's no overly hoppy beers, as you may have noticed.
Yeah.
And
this is very unpopular in the Pacific Northwest, but I hate IPAs.
Right.
Like, I hate them.
Right there with you. Yeah, I don't think we will ever make an IPA.
Okay.
Much to, much to, I feel like, so people talk about a craft beer bubble, and I really feel like it's not so much a craft beer bubble as it is a pale ale bubble.
Yeah.
And so we've chosen to brew the beer less traveled. That's kind of our tagline here at Strangeland. And I don't think we'll ever be making a pale ale, per se. Yeah.
So where did you get the name from?
Strangeland comes from an author named Walker Percy.
Okay.
And he's writing in the middle 1900s outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And he was a medical doctor by trade, gave that up and started writing novels. And he had this idea of the melees of modernity.
Okay.
And this was 1950s, and things are just kind of becoming industrialized.
And people are disillusioned from coming off of the war.
Yes, exactly, right. And so then he had a collection of essays published posthumously, and it was called Signpost in a Strange Land, picking up on some of the themes that he had been writing about.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really cool motif to bring to the beer world, especially here in Austin, especially right now. So we like to view our beers as historical signposts. So that's helped guide us through the beer creation process.
Okay.
And just in general, our aesthetic.
Okay, cool. Sorry, we were earlier talking about your family and how they feel sort of about your entrepreneurial adventure.
Yes.
And
definitely phases of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And not really sure what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. I know my mom doesn't get it at all.
Yeah. Right. Because I think what we're all doing is very different than what they were raised to do. I think there's still in the older generation, there's still a belief in corporations. There's still a belief in retirement accounts, and, the stock market. And I think that I don't really have any trust in any of those institutions, really.
Yeah, I don't have trust that they're going to be around when we're of the age to retire, or at least in any significant way that would help us.
Right. So I'm not seeking to structure my life in a way that's going to be based, relying on that.
Do
hopefully not.
The kids ever come in here and help out? And
our little kids?
Yeah.
So I have 3 kids, 8, almost 6, and 1.5.
Yeah.
The 8-year-old loves to come in and put the toppers on our 6-packs of cans.
Yeah.
That's his signature move.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But they'll have to walk around and climb up on kegs and play with really dangerous things around here, because this is not OSHA approved for 6-year-old children. Yeah.
That's all right. It makes them tougher. They're learning
That's right.
how to be
But I like
careful.
to tell them they can do anything they want with their lives as long as it's brewed beer.
That's what my dad told me when I was going to college. I could do anything I wanted as long as it was engineering.
Yes, well, here you go. You're engineering things.
Yeah.
No, and that's the other thing. So we have three companies. my business partner Am, and I have 3 companies between the 2 of us. And so I'm trying. He has 4 kids, and we have 3. So we're trying to create a bunch of companies for them to come work in later.
That's awesome. Yeah, and they're all fermenting oriented.
They are, yes, indeed, yes. So we're trying to bring back, these very ancient, time-tested, traditional things, because for thousands and thousands of years, people just fermented shit like all the time. That's how they lived, and we forgot all about that almost.
Would you say you're like Scandinavian or heritage or whatever has particularly influenced your fermenting?
I don't know where the fermentation really came up. I mean, I can remember when I was like 10, my dad got the Mr. Beer kit.
Okay.
And so he made a couple batches at home.
Yeah.
And I can still remember the taste of those beers.
Nice.
So I don't know. So maybe that was like the point at which I got really into like the thought of making beer. Like I saw it happen at home.
Yeah.
Which was really powerful. But it wasn't until, I guess, after graduating college, we got married, and then we started reading books like Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon, and we became aware of like this kind of undercurrent of fermentation that's happening, like in Chicago, New York City, San Francisco. We were living out in Albuquerque at the time, so it was kind of
and that's
like
when you were in the Air Force.
In the Air Force, stationed in Albuquerque, and ironically, getting very granola at the time. And so and that's where the fermentation started happening.
And then did you kind of continue that? So after you left the Air Force, you lived in Sweden. No?
Yeah, so we took 4 months, traveled. We spent a month out in Connecticut with my oldest brother. We spent a month down on the coast here in Texas, and then we spent 2 months in Sweden and Norway, just kind of checking out. I was, I guess, trying to find myself, and I don't know, which is kind of hard to do when you have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old at the time. And so we just went around Scandinavia, visiting lots of playgrounds, and
cool.
Yeah, and then we landed back in Austin. We knew we were coming back here. I had been introduced to Adam, who's my business partner, and that just throughout that summer. So this is back in 2010. We started talking. He's like, "Yeah, I got this brewery. We're 6 months out from opening."
Yeah. Okay.
6 months out.
Okay.
It's like, awesome. So I guess I don't need to find a job. No. I'll tell you, you're good. I was like, well, just in case, I'm going to just apply for grad school at UT.
Yeah.
Just back up.
Yeah.
Back up. So that 6 months turned into about 4 years and 6 months.
Okay. As it happened.
Yeah, as it happened. So I like to say we were the brewery that's 6 months away for a long time. And so then I got the master's in mechanical engineering, which was a cool side gig. We lived in student housing. It's pretty good. It's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah. I was talking with a friend of mine who's kind of a fellow entrepreneur, and I think we decided that if entrepreneurs knew how long it takes to really start their business and get it going, they would just never do it.
Right.
But because you have these big dreams and you're like, no, it's going to happen. It's going to happen so quickly.
Right.
You just dive in.
Yeah.
And then you're but just another few months.
Right.
But just,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Time is funny that way, because it takes forever to do certain things, and then you look back and you don't remember really any of that time that you spent waiting, and you're like, oh, why was I stressed anyway?
Right.
But it's it's just such an interesting construct between because so much pressure gets put on at the moment,
right?
And it's hard to sort yourself out and kind of be strategic about it.
Yeah.
I've started running a lot.
Oh yeah.
I run every other morning.
Okay.
It really helps to just anything that's happening. Yes, anything that's happening in my head, I just it helps melt it away.
For me, and I'm not a long distance runner by any means, but I feel by mile 3, I'm sort of start all the worries start melting away.
Right. So exactly.
Yeah. So I'm I enjoy it too. It's always been a stress relief for me. I can just go out there and get a run in. It'll be great.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. Got started in all this just because I knew I had a calling to make beer for a living, And there were a couple ways to go about getting a job in the industry, and one of the ways is to just start a brewery. And that's probably one of the dumbest ways to get started. But that's kind of how it happened. And, but with Adam being the other half of this,
yeah,
he came from a long line of entrepreneurial ventures. And so he kind of pulled me along somewhat unwittingly.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
So I got a little more than I bargained for.
Yeah. So I know just from knowing you that South by is like kind of a huge part of your life and something you really enjoy. Have you looked at any bands yet? Are there any that you're looking forward to?
So last South by, we went down and saw the OCs.
Yeah.
Down at Hotel Vegas. And it was somewhat of a spiritual event for me. Mm-hmm. And it almost makes it worthless to go see any other bands.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll go this year and I'll follow around with our friends.
Yeah.
And see whatever they come up with. But it's like I've seen the top of the mountain, and it's the OCs, and it's like it's just downhill from there. I
know what you mean. There are some bands that just like speak to you at that moment and in that time, and that are awesome. Yeah. For me, I saw Explosions in the Sky at Stubbs while I was in college, and I was not interested in seeing them. Right. I was dating a guy that took me along, and I was like, I don't want to see some band, they have no words, like what's going on. Yeah. And they were awesome. It was just like a wall of sound, and they just like blew me away.
That's awesome. Yeah. Just hit you.
Yeah. It was really great. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, thanks for sitting and chatting, and cheers.
Cheers.
Check out Strangeland Brewery, either if it's in your town or if you're in Austin.
And if you're lucky, you can pick up a specially hand-numbered MMXV.
Yeah,
one of the dumber things, one of the dumber ideas. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.